Ellen's hospital trip and the Egypt. Welcome to your Nile cruise.
We made it.
We made it.
We are on the boat. We are still in port till tomorrow.
Very confusing figuring out which trip because there's so many Nile trips and at a lot of different price points. Like you could get all different amounts of days and prices ranging from a couple hundred to like $1,000. So we did the 3-day, 2-night Aswan to Luxor. You can do Aswan to Luxor or the reverse. But since we were going north, it just made more sense to start south. The one we chose was a little over $200 per person for 2 days. Includes meals, room, and actually ours included a tour guide and best of all, a hot air balloon ride. But it's really loosely written of what you're gonna get because I booked it and then it said, figure out the rest with your people. So I was WhatsApping a lot of people trying to figure out where we were supposed to meet them and what we were supposed to do. And it was a little stressful because I only booked the night before. Maybe that's also my problem. In the end, we figured it all out. Oddly, for the cruise, they ended up changing the schedule, so we stayed in Aswan the first night instead of cruising, which was kind of a bummer because then we did all the cruising the next day. But all in all, it was awesome.
Kind of sounds like this happens to everyone. We talked to a few other people, read some articles about it, and you book one thing and then you get there and they're like, oh no, we're not going there today, we're going there tomorrow. So we ended up staying in Aswan for one night on the boat, but still parked at the dock. We are at the 6th annual Date Festival in Aswan, Egypt, and we just got some chocolate-covered dates, coffee-covered dates, and white chocolate-covered dates.
It's crazy.
Here, film the before and after.
Whoa. Oh, I smell the chickies. Easy.
شغل مناط.
We are at our second temple of the day in Edfu. The boat dropped us off. We went to Kambo this morning.
We ended up sleeping in Aswan the first night on the boat. We heard him at 4 a.m., pick up anchor, and start cruising. So then we ended up at the first temple at about 8:30 a.m.
And now we're in Edfu. And this is the best preserved temple in Egypt, he said, because it was covered in sand and they just found it like sort of recently. And so we're gonna go check it out. The call to prayer is happening, which happens like 5 times a day. So we couldn't really hear our guide, but hopefully it stops before we need to hear things. It is hot out. We just took a horse carriage ride here, which was a little wild, but this is a fun day. Great Nile cruise.
that we chose gave us a guide for every stop that we stopped at, which was pretty cool because we were just in a small group of maybe like 8 to 10 people, and we had our own guide, and they would take us into the temple or the tombs or wherever we were and tell us all about it for like an hour or two. And that was great. It was like my first time, or our first time, seeing hieroglyphics and all that stuff, which are just absolutely insane if you're seeing them in person for the first time. I was so impressed. Way more impressed than I thought.
They were really cool. And I normally don't like tour groups and like listening to someone talk with a whole bunch of people around, but it was super helpful since the last time we studied like Egyptian culture was probably in like middle school. So it was good to get a touch up on like everything that happened and what the temples were for. But then they also let you go off on your own. So you have plenty of time to go out and get your Instagram worthy photos and explore and kind of just look at the area on your own as well. So I would recommend doing it this way.
Yeah, it was absolutely perfect. We would have been kind of lost just like going by ourselves, just kind of browsing around a temple. It's always more meaningful when you know the background stories, and they could read some hieroglyphics too, which was pretty cool.
Maybe. They might have just been making it up because literally they were looking at a bird and a shovel and a stick, and they're like, this is when they got married.
Yeah. Before we came, we were like thinking that everybody was going to be in our face trying to sell us stuff every turn, but actually there's a lot of like guards and police around that make sure that doesn't happen too much. Like obviously it's going to happen just like anywhere in the world. People are going to try to sell you things, but it wasn't that intense, which was pretty nice. I wouldn't really be scared of that in Egypt as much as people are saying that it's like so overwhelming. It's not really that bad. And if you expect it a little bit, I think it's better because you just know it's going to happen. And so you can just say no, thank you, and move on.
Perfect. Chica o grande?
No, grande, 3 metros.
Okay, okay. Perfect. Okay, one black.
الازرق والله والاسود كله.
Another one.
I have 1 minute.
Well, we got up way too early. 3 a.m. We are crossing the Nile River, heading over to ride in a hot air balloon.
actually didn't know that we had a whole tour guide in Luxor once the cruise ended, but we went on a hot air balloon because that was included, and then a tour guide just picked us up. So then we had tours all around Luxor. There's tons of temples in Luxor, like maybe 5 different main ones. But our hot air balloon morning started so early.
Our wake up call was at 3 a.m.
So early.
And we had to take a boat across the Nile.
It was so cool to watch though. They had like 20 hot air balloons laying out ready to be blown up. So we got to see the whole process of them doing that as the sun was rising, and then get in our own. It held, I don't know, like 20 people.
Yeah, it was big.
And it was just such an amazing experience being over top Luxor, watching the sunrise, being over these ancient temples. It was magical.
Yeah, even if you don't do a cruise, I would recommend doing the balloon trip. It was super cool. It's like crazy just flying over like the old tombs, like she said, and then also over like the rice fields and everything like that. And it's super quiet once you're up there.
I've always wanted to be up in a hot air balloon, so it was like the perfect time to do it. Like, that was awesome. And then it was cool because the places that we saw from the hot air balloon, afterwards our guide took us to them.
We are in the Valley of the Kings, looking at tombs. It's really pretty and hot. We've been to 2. They are very cool inside. We are just on our day long of exploring sites. So we're gonna see how much energy we can keep up. We are now at Karnak Temple. It's huge. Like, these pillars, so insane. It's noon. It's 1,000,000 degrees out. I think that's accurate. And we are on our 3rd, 4th temple of the day. One more. This one is so crazy huge though. It's so wild.
So that was an awesome experience. So then we were ready to get to the pyramids after this. We're gonna get to Cairo. One other thing I had wanted to do was take a train in Egypt. I had heard that you could either drive up the Nile or take a train the rest of the way. And it was a little bit hard to find information on that too. But we found out you could either do a day train or a night train. I wanted to do the day one so that I could see, you know, the countryside.
We're hopping on a train to get to Cairo. Hopefully it'll go smooth. I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but it was like 10 minutes walk from our hotel in downtown Luxor. Really easy to get to. Pretty chill inside here. Not too many people. We're sitting at a little cafe, so see what they say. We are hopping on our train, hoping to get in the right car. We picked. Let's try this. It was super straightforward. We found car 1 because we're in car 1. Now we're in our seats, which look like this. It's supposed to leave at 9:20. It's 9:16. We're very on time.
It's like 9:10.
Okay, we're a little late, but it came like right at 9:10.
Let's see.
Oh, it's 9:04. Why did I say a different time? We're still early. Is this chicken meal all of a sudden the best meal you have had in Egypt?
It is up there for sure.
Great train meal. This is a 9 out of 10 for me. Dinner they served on the train was great, actually. I don't even know how we got it.
Yeah.
We just like happened to say yes to a guy. But bring your own coffee because the coffee on the train is not good.
Yes, and always get sugar on the side. I found out they do half a cup of sugar and then half a cup of coffee, and I basically had to go order a new coffee to kind of mix it down. It's very sweet.
We have made it to Cairo. Well, it's only 12 hours.
Yes, she's supposed to be 8.
It was not supposed to be. It's supposed to be 10.
Supposed to be 10, and we are going on 12. And I'll see. Hopefully we're almost there, a few miles away.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. Dinner was still the highlight, but it was long. But what was worse? This 1 hour drive the other day.
The drive was definitely worse because we didn't think we were ever going to make it.
But the bathrooms on here were the worst out of everything ever in my life.
No more trains.
No more trains until the next stop. Meat filled. That's pretty. We couldn't decide if we wanted to stay in the city of Cairo or in Giza, which is beside the pyramids. It's like a half hour in between the two. And I actually thought it was like all part of one thing, but then I realized it was two different areas. So we decided to try both areas and stay downtown the first night and in Giza for 2 nights.
The whole area near the pyramids is a little more run down and not as many restaurants and shops. But in the end, we were super glad we stayed right near the pyramids. Haley found this amazing spot. Glad to do a one night in the city and then also out by the pyramids, just because that's why you're there. You want to be able to see them.
And in the city, you can go like to the big market and you can see any hot spots that you want to. I wanted to see like the trendy area, the island in the middle, called like Zamalek. When we went, the stuff in Egypt doesn't open till like midday. It's hard to do anything in the morning if you're a morning person. There's not that much.
Yeah.
It can look like a completely different city from like 3 p.m. onwards than it does in the morning. So if you look at a place and you think that it's like nothing's happening, it's probably just because at night it'll come alive. So we were there in the morning, so we didn't see too much happening. But then, yeah, we went to Giza because I found a place on Airbnb that had like these epic pyramid views. And you know when you like see something online and you're like, but it's probably too good to be true. Like they got this with a zoom camera. But then we got there and it was just so epic. The view was absolutely insane, and waking up to like all 3 pyramids out your window It was so amazing.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that. If you're going all the way to Egypt, you want to be able to like have a cocktail, a glass of wine over the sunset with pyramids in the background. Morning was our time to check out the pyramids. So we grabbed an Uber, just like we did before, after Haley found this super sketchy COVID testing location. Didn't even look like a hospital, but took us about 20 minutes to even find out how to get into the place. There was no lights in the entrance, up a sketchy stairwell, but she was able to get tested and came out negative, so we would be allowed to leave, which was good. But then we picked up an Uber, and we finally thought someone was just being like super genuine, nice, helpful person. He stopped, got us like free mango juice at one of the stands.
Our Uber driver has stopped at a juice spot for mango juice for us and bananas. So we're just chilling.
And then instead of driving us to our location at the east entrance, which we heard was maybe a better way to start and then walk down through the pyramids, he took us out past the west entrance.
Yeah, he dropped us off at his friend's shop.
He took us to his buddy's shop that runs camel tours and carriage tours around the pyramids, and said, "All right, get out here. They'll take you around the pyramids."
So, like, throughout Egypt, we've found this to be common.
Yes, very common. They promise one thing, and then when it comes down to it, something else happens or something went wrong, and the plan has changed, and now you have to do this. So we were kind of expecting it. Beelined straight to the top of the viewpoint, where, of course, he had another buddy.
He had a camel buddy
Yep.
at the top,
Yep.
who he immediately stopped by. The camel buddy had his whole thing and his whole spiel. Owen wanted to ride a camel, so we got on. I talked to the guy about the camel. I was like, "Are you nice to your camel?"
And I kept asking him how much. He's like, "Oh, just whatever you feel is fair, no price. Like, how much you can
Yeah, this is like
charge?"
typical, so you can't really get an answer.
Yeah,
But we rode it anyways. It was cool.
It was cool. We got to get up on top of a camel, which is really funky. They kneel down, you climb on his back, and then it stands up, back feet first, and it leans so far forward it almost throws you up over the head. And so you have to lean way back as it stands up on its main feet as well. Pretty interesting, kind of a cool experience. We took out a couple bucks to give him as a tip, and he started pouting and walked away and said...
He did. He walked away from us. He was so mad. He wouldn't even speak to us. And I was trying to give him, I think we were trying to give him €5.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't accept it. And we were like, well, we wanted you to tell us a price because, I don't even know what a camel ride is worth.
Yeah.
But it seemed like $5. So we ended up we were like, okay, well, we'll just take our money. Horse driver grabbed our money and took it over to him. They do this all day long, so.
Yeah, it's basically their biggest scam there. They try to make you feel bad.
That was one unfortunate thing about going a lot of places is we're happy to pay the right price, but it just felt like every time we finished an experience, they were trying to rip us off for even more, and it just leaves that bad taste. So I think it was really hard to enjoy a lot of things. But if you can forget about that, then it was like a cool experience.
And it was cool. I mean, we got to see the pyramids, which is crazy. They are huge when you get up under them. Seeing camels walk around, really cool.
This is our neighborhood. We are staying in our Airbnb. It's really chill, local neighborhood. We're getting street food. Is street food a good idea for me? Probably not, but we'll see. It's not the easiest place to travel around. Even if you're like a seasoned traveler, it's definitely tougher to plan things in Egypt. And I just think because the tourism is building up now, it's not quite in place yet. And so it just makes it a little bit more difficult. And that paired with the fact that a lot of stuff that you think you're getting, you might not be getting. Yeah. Hopefully that helps you with your decision. If you want to go to Egypt in the future, don't forget to like and subscribe this video, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, thanks.